know you're crazy, but I only wanna be with you. You think I'm shady cause I'm out here trying to make some moves, but it ain't like that. Just know that I'll be right back. I'll give you all my time just to let you know you're mine. It ain't nothing. Promise I'ma do it all to give you something. This love I got is only for you. You're my comfort, my future husband. I'ma give you all my heart, yeah, all of it, yeah. Baby, I know that I gotta come fix it. You the only nigga that I be missing. Swear I'm coming home to give you the business. Turn off my phone and can leave me a message. I'ma just cover your body with kisses, kisses. Rub your body down, you know that I miss it, miss it.
Glasses in the air, toast to a higher power. Cause what you tuning into right now,
sit down.
It's Lito's Happy Hour. Lito's Happy Hour, this is where it's at. Raw and uncut, we giving real facts. Educating, entertaining all the people. And when it come to podcasts, it ain't nothing equal. Giving people knowledge they can put in action. All the way authentic, we ain't never capping. Exclusive interviews cause we ain't never lacking. The other niggas talking and we bout the action. Glasses in the air, toast to a higher power. This is Lito's Happy Hour.
Welcome to Happy Hour with Lito. I'm your host. You know what I mean? Today, I got a special guest. You know what I'm saying? One of my homeboys. He got his own thing going on, the TrueLeonArmy Podcast. You know what I'm saying? My guy. Andrew, what's up with you, bro?
Hey, man, nothing much, man. Just happy to be on your podcast, man. Happy to, get some content out there for our listeners to enjoy. And I think we have a great subject to touch on, man. I'm excited that you brought me on. So I'm definitely happy to, be on here with you.
For sure. I appreciate you coming on, man. One real quick, this podcast is sponsored by Niche Clothing. You know what I'm saying? No niche is too small if it's yours. You know what I mean? If you want to cop some cool shirts and sweatshirts and things like that, everybody, you can go to www.nicheclothing.shop. That's NICHE clothing.shop. You can use my promo code Niche2022 and get you 10% off or whatever you cop. You dig? You know what I'm saying? So just wanted to put that out there for the fans and people listening. Also, bro, I am a advocate for mental health. So first and foremost, just wanted to check on you today, see how you doing, see how your family doing, how have you been able to maneuver in this whole thing through the pandemic and, you know what I mean, this everything that's been going on.
Life has been well, man. I mean, I can't complain. I say the past few days have been very busy. I don't know if I told you, we was actually supposed to record this yesterday, but I was having issues with my panel guy was messing up, and Pops had to come over and we replaced it. So I was a little stressed about that, but you know what? Definitely focus on the positivity that I have actual people around me that are able to help and fix those things. So, man, I mean, I can't complain. I'm blessed, man. Wife and kids, we're all doing well, man. What about you?
I'm good, man. Everything's good. Busy. Work has been busy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, bro. So outside of that, I'm good, man. Mental health is good. I got that big event coming this Saturday. You know what I'm saying? That we're gonna have, we're gonna have a good time, and hopefully you can stop by. You know what I'm saying?
I definitely tune in at least for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And we have everything. It's gonna be a good time, man. It's gonna be a good time. I mean, it should be all guys. I did open it up for single moms and stuff that have little men that they are raising on their own. You know what I mean? If they have them sitting with them or something like that. So yeah, it's just gonna be a good time.
Definitely. Okay.
You know what I mean? So let's talk about this, man. The big day, the Oscars.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Chris Rock is about to present an Oscar for a documentary for Questlove. And now everybody knows this, right? When you're doing the Oscars every single year, the Academy, they will hire a comedian because the comedian comes in and they'll roast him a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Nothing too crazy.
Mm-hmm.
This year in particular. Now, Chris Rock did roast Will and Jada before. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
it's the slap heard around the world, and and it was something that you and I kind of talked about offline. How we agreed that Will's actions were we didn't agree with it, but I think a lot of things people like. And I was listening to some other podcasts and reading some articles on, and I think something that I have not seen focused on was that because and tell me if you've seen this online. You see where like a lot of women were like praising Will Smith and calling him like, oh, he's defending black women, and he's it's like standing up for the culture. And I think that is the wrong message.
Me too.
That has, I just feel like that to me, he didn't defend black women. He actually hurt black women and hurt the image of a black man or image of a man in terms of the energy that he put out there. And
Mm.
we don't talk about it a lot. Like, and honestly, I hate people like jumping on Jada about it. It ain't her fault. She didn't do nothing. All she did was had an attitude. And I mean, you're married, I'm married. We both seen our wives get attitudes and not be in the mood, but that doesn't we're in control of our own selves, right?
True.
So, so for people to be like, oh, well, it's she's doing this, she's controlling him. Like, man, listen, no matter who you with, what you got going on, can't nobody control you. You're a man. So you are in charge of your own decisions.
Well, let me say
And I
this.
think, go ahead.
Let me say this. So the issue is a lot of it is Will's fault. He
Mhm.
has a lot to it's his fault, but it's also her fault in the fact of they put their business out for everyone to see, right? They pride themselves on letting everybody know what's going on with them, their open relationship.
Mhm.
Uh, you know, one thing Will Smith said in the interview, he said, when me and my wife are not doing well and we are not in a happy place, he said, it's not up to me to make her happy. It's not up to her to make me happy. He said, I let her go and do whatever she wants to do
Mhm.
that brings her happiness. If
Mhm.
that means she's messing with other people, whatever the case may be, their goal is we're never going to get divorced, but we're always going to come back to the table after we've done whatever we need to do over here to make
Mhm.
ourselves feel happy. I don't agree with that because that's why they're in the situation that they're in now. And there's like old interviews, right, where she has been on Oprah. Oprah will ask, how is y'all sex life and stuff like that. You know what I mean? They'll tell it all. She always talked about, comparing him to, Tupac. That was like her first love or whatever. She used to
Mhm.
love Tupac, and mentally and emotionally, it gets to him. He wrote a book
Yeah, and
and he talked
again,
about trying to compare himself to Tupac for her. You know
right,
what I'm saying? So
right.
I'm not saying like, and then she slept with her son's friend. I mean,
I mean, yeah, I'm not saying that her actions are don't play some part in it,
yeah,
but I truly believe he allowed the atmosphere for those actions to develop. So, for example, what I mean is that you know, in my relationship, I set the standards for when my woman and I got together, as she had her standards.
right.
So it was the atmosphere that we created. If our actions went outside of that, then it's our choice to decide if we want to stay together or move on or whatever. But if he created an atmosphere where he said, hey, if you're upset, you're welcome to go sleep with somebody else, he set that tone. And
They
if he
both
felt like
agreed,
it, they
basically.
both agreed, yeah.
Yeah,
But he still, to me, I still believe that a man's supposed to be the head of the family, and I feel like that you know it was still his dynamic that he chose. You get what I'm saying? And for him to allow that behavior, you have to accept all that comes with it. even when she had the show, I'm sure he knew the topics before they went on there and talked about it. You
Mm-hmm.
chose that. You chose all of those things. So when things don't go your way or when the internet is running amok, yes, I believe there should be discretion in every relationship.
Right.
Because, for example, what may work for you and your wife may not work for my wife and I, and
Right.
vice versa, or other people. And that's where, if you have that ability to have people you get close with and, able to talk with, that's perfect. And everybody should have that, and I love when Charlamagne was talking about, definitely our people need to go get therapy. We need to get therapy. And I like how you started it off, like
Mm-hmm.
asking people about their mental health, because it's something that's not talked about. But what we saw Will do was a clear depiction of why mental health is so important. And if that's not taken seriously, imagine if he had a weapon.
Right.
Imagine, you know what I mean? Just imagine how much could have happened. Yes, you could say, oh, well, it's Jada's fault. I don't blame that. I blame him, because if it made you that mad to where somebody said a joke and you slapped that person, it's your fault that you allowed the situation to get there. Because if she's not going to act in a manner that requires your peace, then she don't need to be there. So
That's
it's
my
not her
thing.
fault.
I agree with you on that too. I also think that I understand everyone having their, we get married, that's it. We're not getting divorced. But I
Mm-hmm.
feel like they've had so many problems that him agreeing to do this, I go my separate way, we separate, I go over here and do whatever with whomever, you go over there and do whatever with whomever, we come back together once we're happy in that space, and then we
Right.
continue to be a family.
Right.
That is one of the reasons why I believe that he snapped, because no man is okay with, I don't care how many girls you sleep with, no man is okay with another man sleeping with his wife. You know what I'm
Of course
saying?
not. Not unless you
And
really just don't care about her.
yeah, not unless you just don't care at all. You know what I mean? So for him, he wrote in his book, he said, um, every woman that I've ever came in contact with, I let them down. He said, from my mother to my wife now. My mother was beat on by my dad. I didn't do nothing. You know what I mean? I treated my ex-wife certain ways. I cheated, this, that, and the third. So part of the reason why, and like Charlamagne said, people do need therapy, because part of the reason why he snapped like that is probably because the therapy that he's been doing with this whole red table talk, that's not working. You gotta,
It's not, I mean, that's not therapy. That's
yeah.
that's
They call
literally
it therapy though. You know what I mean? Like that's how
that's
they,
saving face, guy. That's
yeah,
that's that's getting, because mind you, the only reason they came out with that was because old boy started talking. They
yeah,
they that was their idea of getting ahead of it,
right,
and they started, like, almost like maybe listening too much to other people on how to get ahead of it. And honestly, if they already knew about that, they should have just kept it to themselves, because technically you don't owe the world an explanation.
true,
There are people who go through infidelity and are still able to be together. Again, not something I could deal with, but there are people who do that.
right,
And if that's what y'all decide to do, that's fine. But once you, like you said, once you open that door, man, and you let the world in, and then you got, you know, all these internet trolls who are just constantly making memes and teasing you and doing all this, it's bad. And for me, man, like, I still fuck with Will Smith, man. Like, he was a powerful influence me growing up, man. I bought his CDs, I watched all his work, and to me, he felt real. When that happened, it felt real, because it was just like, okay, now you seem like a man who allowed too much, trying to be something you're not, and you finally snapped. So hopefully you can step back and say, hey man, this maybe this ain't for me, or I don't want a divorce, but I can't do this. I can't be in a situation like this. I can't hang on your, like, if you're feeling mad, that upsets me or something. You know what I mean? Because
it's almost like a trigger for him though,
it's a
because
trigger. It's a trigger if and again, go back to what you said in his book. He let the women down that he cared for, that he internalized it, and it's like, man, you're not Superman, dude. You can't be Tupac. When you was a kid, you couldn't beat your father. You know
right,
what I mean? And it's therapy. You have to deal with that. I understand that, but it's still a level of onus on you as a man, as a person, to take responsibility. You can't blame any woman that you with and say, well, it's your fault That's like if somebody want to lose weight and you's like, well, I'm blaming you because you didn't cook me this. Like, come on, man. The onus is on you. Like, it's a decision you have to make.
Right.
You made that decision to internalize that. Like, if your wife got upset about the joke, and there's so many different ways you could handle it.
Yeah.
But the way you chose to handle it was such a disrespectful, feminine way to even do anything. I don't even know most women who would do stuff like that.
No,
For you
not
as
at
a man
all.
to do that, it just shows like, and I told my wife this, like it really showed me what I think he does behind closed doors. So
Fact.
when so when Jada acts like that, she probably don't like that,
That's why she
feminine
that's why she
energy.
does that. Oh, I miss Tupac.
Exactly. I miss Tupac. I'm getting with
Yeah.
August because she, a woman who wants to be in a relationship, a monogamous relationship, and she's with somebody who's like feminine like that.
Right.
Like if you displaying energy, and again, that's what people don't understand. It doesn't matter how much money you make. It doesn't matter. None of that stuff matters. She's thinking about a guy who died years ago. You're talking about a guy who's
95.
friends, right? A guy who's friends with your son. You get what I mean? Who ain't got nowhere near the clout money or anything as your husband got, because that doesn't matter.
Right.
I mean, it matters to an extent. I don't want to say it doesn't, but it's also how you carry yourself as a man. And what he did up on stage, man, you imagine if he's doing that at home, man, her walls ain't getting wet for that. She like, man,
Yeah.
like we saving face when we go into these shows and doing this because, again, if he's displaying that energy at home, can you blame Jada for not wanting to be submissive to that?
Right. And that's why I said I think that's why he snaps. He can't live up to some of the standards that she has. It don't have nothing to do with money. You know what I'm saying? It has more so to do with the type of man that she needs. You know what I mean?
I
And
don't even know if our standards are high though. I mean, but keep
yeah,
going.
they're probably not. They're probably not. But I think, when you have a woman who is constantly comparing you to an ex and is saying that out in the, in the public, and then people come to you and have to ask them questions, and then you got to bring it back and say all this other crazy stuff. Like he tried to cover it up for so long. One thing that replays to me was when they did that red table and she was talking about August and the look on his face.
Yeah, it was sad, man. I felt bad for dude. I'm like, man, like you literally just like let your wife just sit here and tell you she slept with another man. You didn't come across that table. And if you knew that before you got on this table and you still like I don't know, man. And again,
Tolerated that, bro.
Exactly. You know what? I bet you she the type, if he cheat on her, she'll like take him for everything.
She
Like,
cool with
done.
it. I think that
Probably.
she's cool. Like when they do their separation thing, she don't care what he do because she getting hers. But she just wants to be. Remember, she kept saying, "I just wanted to be happy. I just wanted to feel,
Feel good.
yeah, feel good."
Maybe think of that Halle Berry scene on Monsters Ball.
Right. That's crazy. Like I'm your husband, and you telling me that you just, so I don't make you feel good. You just wanted to feel good. You wanted someone else to make you feel good. That's
Or
just
at that time,
that's
she didn't feel good. I mean, her emotional highs and lows shouldn't dictate how he runs his life, and that's really what it is. Is that if you, because again, not at every moment in a relationship that your wife's gonna be happy with you. I mean, I agree. I mean, I understand that, but
right.
that doesn't constitute stepping out. And again, everybody has their own boundaries. You
Right.
understand? So if I heard this segment today. It was really good, and it talked about boundaries. And the gentleman said that boundaries always talk about keeping people out, but it's really about keeping people in. The people that are close to you, because the way she's acting like she doesn't have boundaries, so she goes any way she wants.
Right.
And for a healthy relationship to thrive, no matter the capacity, the boundaries are set to keep them inside. You and your wife have agreements. It is some things like it's just unspoken. It's like some things you just don't do. So
Right.
if somebody is stepping outside of that, then their relationship has no boundaries.
Right.
So he's getting emotional about things that he allowed. So it really shows like you can't handle it, because if somebody cracked a joke on him, it's something he was personal about, man, she would have laughed and set her ass there and kept it pushing.
Yeah.
She wouldn't have did that.
And another thing too, like bravo to Chris Rock, because any man that get that close in your space, First of all, they was like, "Oh, it's fake," because Chris leaned in. He leaned in because he thought he was gonna tell him something, and he didn't want to say it on the mic. You know what I mean?
Right.
He knows him, so he didn't even think that he was going to touch him.
Right. And anybody watching it, like when I watched it the first time, I thought Will was going up there to do a joke
Yeah, me too.
or to say something funny. So yeah, I mean his guard was down. So yeah, much respect to Chris.
Yeah, hands behind his
And I like
back.
yeah, and DL Hughley made a good point that we don't focus much on his aspect, on his mental health for this, because this is being played, talked about. He has kids,
Right.
he has family, a huge fan base, and I've definitely been a fan of his for a long time.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
for him to do that, it just showed a real class act, a real class act of a person to allow that to happen and keep it professional. Because
Yeah.
like when I worked overseas, right, and I worked in Afghanistan, they had this thing where like if somebody attacked you, even if you defend yourself, you both get fired.
Mm.
Like, so, I've never been in a situation where I got attacked because I don't believe I'm that strong of a man. But I have instances where I've gotten in arguments with people, and I had to literally sit back and say, "Is this worth jeopardizing the moves I want to make and how I'm taking care of my family because
Right.
I can't keep my emotions in check?" So I would keep them in check, and unfortunately, the earnings gap between us and Will Smith is vastly different. So,
Right.
of course, he can make that movie and be fine. He can never act in another movie and be fine. But to me, it's bigger than that. Again, I go to his actions look feminine. And I want to touch back what I talked about in the beginning on the women who are defending that,
Yeah.
saying he's defending black women. And I say, no, he literally made like Jada was so helpless, like she couldn't take a
Mhm.
joke. She could now, if the man was belaboring his wife or just being disrespectful, that's a different story. That's not what took place. No one in the
Right.
world really truly thinks that he was being malicious with his jokes.
And
But
the fact that Chris didn't know about her alopecia. He said
even
it,
if he did, even if he did,
but he
it was
didn't
a
though.
joke. Yeah, but he didn't. You're right, and that makes it even worse because he didn't know, and I didn't know until after the joke. So something that never would have caught the light of day for the world, you turned it into like the main talking point for probably weeks, months, years to come, and like Chris said, you literally made TV history with
Right.
what you just did. You
For
know what I'm
like
saying?
no reason what's like the wrong type of history too, because
Right.
you know, um, Will Packard was the producer of the Oscars. First time black men was able to produce the Oscars. Samuel L. Jackson got his first Oscar. Nobody's talking about that.
Right.
You know what I
Questlove
mean?
had that one good
Questlove.
a different documentary. It,
Nobody's
it was
talking
so
about
many
that.
it was so many beautiful moments. Even Will Smith getting his Oscar is drowned by that.
Yeah.
Is drowned by that. I mean, just is, and again, that's something he has to live with. That's something he has to go through life and live with. And I just hope he gets the therapy that he needs because if he doesn't, it's going to get worse. But I'm just saying, I think that was just a snippet of his personal life. I think the facade he puts on, just like people get on Instagram and all these social media sites and they post all the good things that's
Money and
going
all of
on.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just like just everything's good, everything's positive. But
Right.
like that's the real shit right there. That's how that motherfucker acts. So, to me, if he was on his real shit and keeping his emotions in check and keeping this woman in check, he wouldn't deal with that. And guess what? You can't control anybody. But if your woman don't want to be submissive to how you want to, for your peace, because your peace is important,
Right.
and her peace is important. If her peace is being able to go out here and sleep with other people, but that's violating your peace, guess what? Y'all don't need to be together. That's fine.
Yeah.
So that goes back to a video I made, a podcast where I talked about self accountability, where it's so easy to, like I said, blame other people, or like I talk about child support, like, oh, so mad at the baby mama, but it's like, bro, you chose to sleep with her.
Yeah.
You chose to have children with her. Like you even if it went fat, whatever, like you still made that decision. So whatever consequences come with that, come with that. You have to look at the sunk cost fallacy.
Mhm.
Do you go ahead and just take your loss and keep it moving? Like, look,
Right.
I've been with Jada this long. I do love her. We have a beautiful family. But this is gonna put me in the grave early. Like, what I
Yeah.
gotta do? I'm a laughing stock for the whole world. Like
Either do
Kevin
that or you
Samuels said, pick
seriously
up your.
buckle
Mhm.
down and get to the root of why, because he might not even know what's going on with himself. You know
Right,
what I'm saying?
right, and that's where I think being alone and literally being alone, like that, whatever agreement they have, like you said, it ain't working. Like
Yeah.
going to be with other people, allowing that spirits into you and that mindset is not working for you. So you need to do your own. You need to get help.
Yeah.
And and again, what are your thoughts on the women who like defend it? Like when I was bringing it up, like what are your thoughts when you see that? Because I've seen it and I'm sitting here like, why are you defending this? Like, why is that cool for you? Like, why are you
Yeah.
defending? Like,
I seen
what
some
if that
people,
was your?
some women say, I've never, I've seen, women say that is so dope that he would, stood up for his wife like that in that way, because I've never been, um, you
But
know,
it's more black women are saying
protected.
that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's our
Black
sisters.
women are
Yeah.
saying they have never been protected or felt protected by their black men that they've been with. Now, I look at that a few ways, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some of that might be daddy wasn't around, you know what I'm saying, when they were growing up. Or
Mm-hmm.
some of that is the choices that they've made when choosing men. But
Right.
you can't be mad if you know that you got a man. See, women fall in love with um the thought of what they can try to change a man into being, his
Mm-hmm.
potential, what they
Right.
think his potential may be, not necessarily who he is, and that's just what it is for face value. So a lot
Mm-hmm.
of these women get these guys and they try to change them, and these men don't change. So then it's like, oh, now he this, that, and the third, but he was always this way. You the one
Right.
fell for the fact of, I can, you know what, he got some good qualities. Let me see if I can just change him.
Well, and
So,
there's and like you said, there's a level of truth in our women not feeling
yeah,
respected,
for
and
sure.
to me that comes down to them as well. For example, I had a podcast talking about um it was rap music of the disease or the cure for
Hmm.
our culture, and in a lot of ways it's the disease. We in our music we perpetuate violence. We subjugate our women. We downgrade guys who take care of their business as squares, and we do all this in our music, and we perpetuate it as
Call them
culture.
L7s. Yeah, yeah.
We make it into culture like that. Like it's culture being cool selling drugs. It's in culture being cool having our women dress naked and just call them out the names, disrespecting them. That from a young age they internalize it. They internalize it. So when they think they see something that's defending them, they jump all on it. Like, oh my God, he's Will Smith is defending black women, and it's just like, no,
That's
no,
not
no,
what he was
no.
doing. Yeah,
It's not what he was doing. He was defending his emotions and his
yeah.
ego. But if you really want to unlayer that, let's look through your playlist and tell me how many times you've been called out your name just from your playlist. So
That you listening to, right?
if you're not willing to attack that, my little light in here going off. Can you still see me good?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're good.
All right, that's cool. All
Yeah,
right. So if like if you're not willing to really dig into that on like on where you really disrespected, you can't focus on where you're being respected because you don't even know how you're being disrespected.
right,
You get what I mean? Like it's hard to sit here and appreciate something where you don't even know how you're being depreciated because
right.
you're legit are being depreciated in the music. I have daughters, so I always like I laugh and I joke until I tell my daughters, but I'll be like, when I watch videos or something, I'll be like, man, I pray my daughters don't ever be on that. I don't want my daughters to think this behavior is cool or
Right.
don't be no video vixen. Don't go out here and have a whole bunch of bodies or do any of that stuff. Like, don't do that. Like,
Don't be in
don't
the
do that.
strip
And it's
club.
yeah,
Yeah,
don't like like understand how the world may view you if you act this way. Understand that if you dress half naked, making videos, making a little like all these girls make TikToks, you dress half naked. Don't be mad if you attract the type of dudes who's gonna play you.
right,
Don't be mad. Don't be mad if your future husband look at you and be like, I'm gonna keep scrolling because
right.
that's not what I want. So and again, and I'm not making everybody gonna be perfect or nothing, but I hate that with this situation with Will Smith. that our women in particular look at that as defending black women, and it's like you don't even know what's tearing you down, and you trying to point out what's lifting you up, because this isn't it. This
Right.
isn't it. And my wife talked about, I don't know where she watched it, but it was a podcast that she just like podcast or video, but she was talking about how they were the way they were talking about like Russell Wilson, right?
Okay.
And they basically made him out like, oh, he's a square, fuck this dude, he's you know, basically talked shit about this guy like he was
Yeah, you know
nothing,
Russ
like
is
he
from
made,
Cleveland. He's from Cleveland.
I didn't even know that, you
Yeah.
know. But he's beta, he's this, he's that, like. And I told my wife he beta because he's a super millionaire that ain't disrespecting his woman. You know, he take care of his woman, he take care of his children.
Right.
You know, he like a pillar in the community.
He takes
ain't
care of somebody
disrespecting
else's
his
child
family,
too. Well, that's not even.
and he taking care of somebody else's child. And again, that's commendable. You
Right.
know, and not saying you have to do that, but the fact that he's doing that, and you know he's being demonized against, like, but they put Future on a pedestal.
Right.
And again, I'm not judging, dude. Like, you want to get out here and have a baby with every chick you slip with? Hey, guy, that's cool. That's your money, not mine. But when they got investments where they could take care of their generations take care of their kids for generations, and I mean generations, you can't knock that. But see, the thing is, our culture, and this is the culture thing.
See, there's something about that though,
Huh?
because you can take care of, and we're gonna have to probably do another podcast about this too, because
Right.
the whole Nick Cannon thing, right? Real quick,
Mhm.
he's wanting to have a bunch of children. You know, he wants to.
Mhm.
Now he believes that I make a lot of money, so I can support my children. Going to be straight for life, right?
Right.
One thing that he cannot do
Mhm.
is be, depending on how many kids he has. I don't know how many he has so far, right?
Mhm.
But time, the time that it's going to take, the kids these days, they need so much attention,
Mhm.
or because they have so many things on television or in other areas that will take them left.
Right.
So
for
you
sure.
thinking that, okay, you're going to be able to take care of them physically.
Mhm.
You never know how your child's mental is going to be.
Right. Your
Yeah.
child may get older and think totally different on how you do things. And I agree with that, man. I think it's a danger and keep wanting to have children and all that. But it's a culture thing. It's a culture thing that we like, those type of people are praised, man. And again, I have much respect for Nick Cannon, so I want to make that clear. I
Yeah,
do.
for sure.
I think it's a little misguided on how he's having kids, but I can't
Yeah.
get into the nature. But with comparison of the Future situation to uh, Russell Wilson, I hope I'm saying his name right. Am I saying his name right?
Yeah, Russell Wilson. Yep.
Okay, you know, like looking at this dude as a square, but looking at Future as like the truth. And again, when you listen to the wrong music, and again, I said on the podcast, oh, if we listen to all types of music, I'm an old soul. I can listen to old soul. I can listen to current rap, but I know how to divorce that in my mind and know when to be like, okay, this shit is clearly for entertainment.
Yeah.
But when you got some people who look at that shit and just guide their principles, guide their lively style, how they look, how they act, how they interpret things. So when they sit here and they see another black man get basically slapped in his face on live television for doing nothing more than telling a joke and justify that shows how our culture has went left a long time ago.
And another thing too, I want to say, you know, with Chris Rock,
Mhm.
you know, things have came out that he has a mental health issue. He has like a learning disability where when things happen to him, it takes him a while. When traumatic things happen to him, it takes him a while to process.
Mhm.
So, and he spoke about this, came out like after the slap and everything. He you know, he's been bullied, you know, when he was younger and things like that. So a lot of his trauma, you know, he hasn't even been able to talk about the slap yet.
Mhm.
So, you know what I mean? Like, and that's the thing that people, you know, they forget, you know, they want to sit here and say, oh, well, Chris shouldn't have said this, that, and the third. Well, first of all, like we said, he came out, said he didn't know. I was watching the I Am Athlete podcast, and they were on there talking like, you know, I'm gonna defend my wife, this, that, and the third. See, it's different when it's a stranger.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a strange man that your wife don't know, or that you don't know, or somebody that your wife just don't mess with, period, there is a way to, like we said, there's a way to handle that, right? If a
Right.
strange
Sure.
man talk about your wife, you gonna say something to him.
Oh, exactly.
Now, the setting that it's in, now nobody's going. You at the Oscars, he could have went to the back and just had a conversation with Chris,
There's
but
so many ways
but
you can handle
but the
it.
fact that Jada, now they pan to Will, and Will's
Mhm.
laughing hysterically.
Mhm.
Jada rolling her eyes. He look
Right, and
over
it's
and
okay, and it's
feels like,
okay for her to do that.
yeah, he looks over and feels like, oh shit, I got to do something, or
I
else,
gotta defend her honor,
yeah,
or
or else
I'll
it's
be
going to
sleeping on
be
the
just
couch
like,
tonight or something.
or he's looking like, I got to defend her honor, or else like when we go home, it's going to be hell to
Oh, it's,
pay. You know what I
oh
mean?
yeah, it's gonna be another entanglement because
Yeah,
I was laughing, and just think of the mental torture he's probably going through. He's allowing himself to go through that, and this is where I feel like we need to focus on too. His mental anguish released out of his hand and put that on another man.
right.
You put that on another man, and now, like, I'm glad you pointed that out. I didn't even know Chris Rock had that type of disability
Mm-hmm.
because he has been silent, and for him to, like you said, it makes sure I understand. So he has a disability where he has to process things for days,
Yeah,
and he's bullied, and
yeah,
you know how traumatic that is. I mean, that is a clear definition of bullying, and the most, and you know what I've learned growing up is that the bullies were the biggest punks.
right.
And again, everybody's pointed out if that had been somebody who was, you know, a little bit thicker, taller, who like they would have gave him that work or at
He wouldn't
least
have went
put
up
up a
there.
fight, he wouldn't have went up there. He
Nope.
went up there on a little buck 40, buck 50 man, you know, maybe 5'9", 5'10",
With his hands
and
behind
smacked
his back.
him.
Yeah,
Yeah, with his hands behind his back, didn't say anything, and call yourself big and bad. No, it traumatized him. And again, I don't believe in the snitch culture and, like, you know, filing charges, but a
yeah.
civil suit, you're gonna have to pay me. Like, my generation is gonna have to be paid because this is gonna be played in 100 years from now. This is gonna be played.
But that's what
You
Jim
know
Carrey
what I mean?
said. Jim Carrey said, they were talking, and they said to Jim Carrey, he said, it's a stain on the Oscars. He said, to be completely honest with you, he said, they said, well, Chris doesn't want to, press charges. He said, well, he probably just doesn't want the hassle. But he said,
Right.
he said, if it were me, he said, you guys will wake up tomorrow morning and you'd see that Jim Carrey
Suing
is
for $200
suing
million.
for 200 million. He
Yeah,
said,
definitely.
because that, like you said, that video is going to be around forever.
And that bird, yeah, your kids, everybody is going to see that and live through that pain. So I don't know, man. I mean, this could be unlayered to so much, and I think if we just recap, if we go back to working on the mental issues, right?
Mhm.
Working on self because the self accountability. We can't blame Jada. I can't even begin to blame her because again, he allowed that behavior. He allowed that energy to throughout their lifetime, and again, he probably was showing his feminine energy. She allowed that, and their compromise was going to maybe be with other people.
Right,
Whatever.
right. Which
That's
is,
all cool and dandy until you go and put your hands on somebody else
mhm.
because they don't fit that narrative or they say a joke. Now you really got to reevaluate yourself because like I said, what if you had a weapon? What if he had a weapon? What if you went up on the wrong person and lost your life or someone else lost their life? And we see that so often where people are now losing their lives because of violence and can't keep their emotions in check. They can't sit back and think. My mom always tell me like, baby, play that tape out. Play that tape out. Play it all the way to the end. Like think this through. Cause you
Mhm.
ever been like so upset and like and my wife and I we'd be upset arguing and it'd be like 2 days later, bro. I can't even remember what the hell we were arguing about.
Yeah, that happens for me
So
a lot, actually. Like,
yeah,
and it don't even be 2 days later for real. It might even be the
it could
next
be
day.
that next day, that
Yeah,
night, and it'd be like, like one night my wife was saying something. I was like, "Damn, you still mad? Like I don't even know what you
I
mad
don't even
at."
know
Like
what we upset, like what we,
upset about, yeah. And
yeah,
that's the thing, And I could, like I said, if Jada's upset, she take a joke the wrong way, bro. She's welcome to do that. If my wife was upset, somebody said something about her. She took it personal. You have every right to be upset. And
Mm-hmm.
if I laughed and she didn't think it was funny, and I'll be like, "Damn, that's fucked up. My bad, babe." Like whatever. It would have been between us to handle. The
Mm-hmm.
world doesn't need an explanation, and I wouldn't have made a scene like that or did
Right.
all of that. That's his insecurity.
Right.
But like I said, if we don't focus on these mental issues, we're going to keep having instances where people are resorting to violence to solve their problems. He resorted to violence. What if Chris start resorting to violence? What if other people start, resorting like, oh
That's what
man,
I
I'm
was gonna
not getting
say.
my way.
Because
Go
think
ahead.
of think of this now. Like now that he's done that, all these
Hmm.
comedians are like, I need to have extra security at the venues that I'm at, Funny Bone, and all these other places because now people think, shit, Will Smith went up and smacked somebody for, you know what I mean, for him cracking on, his wife or cracking on me, whatever. Now, if you say something to me and I'm in the crowd and I don't like it, I'm gonna come up there, you know.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna come up there. Or I'm gonna make a scene, or I'm gonna
Yeah,
do something, or just let's just say let's take it out of the comedy club. Let's just say it's people who sitting there talking smack, man. Like my pops used to tell me, it take a bigger man to walk away than to sit there and fight over nothing.
yeah,
Because you lose your life, man. That's the end game. That's the end
period.
game, man. Let
Right.
somebody get you in your feelings that much that you want to go put your hands on them, or and now you get your life taken when you could have walked away, or you could have not let it get to you that much. Because I hate the term when they say like this world ain't big enough for the both of us, man. I don't believe in that, but this world is big enough, bro. You know how many
Yeah,
people get around this world without you knowing they even exist? You
facts.
can't tell me you can't ignore a motherfucker like they don't exist, and that's not being disrespectful. Again, like that segment that talked about the boundaries, that's you don't have no boundaries
Right.
because the boundaries are to keep the relationships that are important to me. My wife, my children, my loved ones, my friends. And everybody I interact with has certain boundaries. But if there's no boundaries, man, walk your ass on, man. I don't have
Yeah.
to argue with you. I don't have to deal with you. You know, even if let's just say Chris Rock did know she had alopecia, bro. Like to me, I'm not a religious person at all, and I've spoken on that plenty of times in my podcast. But I do believe there's a way of handling your business, so you don't get that bad shit coming back to you. I like to look out for people. I like to help people. I'm a very compassionate person,
So what
and
you
I feel
believe in the
blessed that
universe? You believe in the universe, like good karma, bad karma kind of thing.
I wouldn't even call it that, man. I mean, because I just believe in just doing the right thing and not for something coming back, not to do it because I'm expecting something back,
Right.
but because I try to be optimistic. When my wife and I had a situation in our home, I feel blessed that even though it was my father, he still was able to help us out and do something. Just you get what I mean?
Yeah.
So I carry myself in that manner, and it's just the way to push the envelope forward. So I hope Will grows from this. I hope he becomes stronger. I hope the issues that Chris is having that he could deal with it, and I hope that what do you call it? I hope the women who literally sit back and look at this and find justification in this get evaluated, because if that was your father, if that was your brother, any male in your family, your loved one, they got the shit slapped out of them, man, you wouldn't be cool with that.
Not at all.
Just because you like Will Smith more doesn't justify his actions at all. And for Will Smith to be apologizing finally, he's still, and I'm sure he's really taking accountability in his mind. But for him to apologize about that, and there's still women who are justifying his actions, just shows the disparity in our communities, and where the trajectory of our communities if we don't get this under control. Like you literally can have a rapper call you out your name, disrespect you, talk about all this stuff, and that doesn't phase you at all.
Right.
It doesn't phase you. So you don't even know when you're being disrespected. So if you don't know that, you don't know when you're being respected. But yeah, man, that's like my piece on it, man. I just hope that this healing for them and healing
Hmm.
for anybody affected. Like I said, I was affected personally because I looked up to Will Smith. I did, man. Like I had to see these guys. I,
Right.
I I enjoy this content, and I
Movies,
still
all
do.
everything.
I want to see the Bad Boys 4. I want to see him and everything. I want to see,
Well, you know it's on
and again, I
hold
don't
now,
need
bro.
this.
It's
I heard that. I know. That's why I brought it up. But
crazy.
I hope that I don't like the cancel culture. I don't even, and I'll say this, man. Like, there's people talking about, oh, he should get his Oscar revoked and all this shit, man. Look, I'll say a name, Harvey Weinstein. If that cat, all the shit he got convicted of, no, seriously, like
Yeah.
sexually assaulting women, like, and it wasn't like some one off to where it's like it's a misinterpretation. No, bro. When you get a bunch of women saying the same thing, like, come on now, that's not no, like, they all ain't lying on you. You feel me?
Yeah. Just
So
like Bill
for
Cosby.
all the for Bill Cosby, where there's smoke, there's fire. Whatever. So for them not to take his Oscar, you're not gonna take Will's Oscar. Because if they do that, I'll be campaigning on my channel to get it back. I'll never support that shit again if y'all
I
take
think
his
the
Oscar
fact
away.
that he told the
Resigned.
Academy that he resigned.
But they said there's going to be more consequences. That's the reason why I brought it up, because they said they're still by like mid April. They're still, so I just, again, if Harvey Weinstein still has his and they're not taken away, and again, that's not my decision. But I'm just saying, if you take away from this black man because he made a mistake, like,
And I also think too, the Harvey Weinstein stuff didn't kind of spill over to the Oscars. You know what I'm saying? Like, as far as
it don't
like,
matter.
I know it shouldn't matter, but the Academy is going to look at it like he did this at the Oscars. You know what I'm saying? And he was just completely outside of himself. And you know what? Another thing about Jada, real quick,
Mhm.
when he sat back down and he said, "Keep my wife's name out your effing mouth." And
Right.
he said, "What?" He said, "Really, dude?" He said, "Yes. He got louder, right?"
Mhm.
And they showed a video of someone recording behind them.
Seen that. Actually, that video was when he smacked Chris. She was laughing.
Yeah.
Like,
And he sat down and she was just looking at him and she was happy, right? But then he gets up there, he wins best actor, male actor, or whatever, gets his Oscar. He's crying.
mhm.
She in a situation like that where he did that for you and he realized he messed up, right?
Mhm.
You could have at least been up there and held his hand for support. You know what I'm saying? Or
I
she
don't
was
know,
not.
man. I mean,
I mean, I just think personally, because of his mental wasn't right. So and it stems from a lot of the stuff that their family issues.
and we're assuming that we don't know
Yeah,
exactly what it all stems from. I think it has a level of degree with it, but I still feel like for him to get up there and do that, if he's off to handle that much, I mean, I don't know. I probably would have set my ass down, man. Been like, you gonna do what you gonna do, because at the end of the
yeah,
day, bro, you're a grown man. Like, I mean, like, it's like dealing with your wife, man. Like, if your wife get up and really do something crazy, it's like you could try to control her, but at the end of the day, it's like, hey, you gonna have to live with those consequences.
yeah.
If you go up and go hit that person, like, what do you want me to do?
Right.
You asked for that. Like, like, what if he hit a man? That man mopped the floor with his damn head. Would you want her to get up and curse out the other man? She
Nah.
didn't do nothing, but all she did was express her distaste in the joke, and she has every right to do that.
Yeah.
You know, and I've seen where maybe she could have grabbed his hand or try to calm him down,
That's what
and
I'm saying. Like,
I agree with that. But again, I told my wife, I think the actions he displayed is what he's does at home, and she probably knows she can't control him. So
mm.
she's like probably like hoping like, man, I'm trying to save face and keep a cool, calm, collected,
But
because
I
I'm
think
sure
that
that,
she knew that he would snap based off
right.
of
So,
her.
and with knowing that and seeing that, she probably did the best she could do based off what she's seen before. She
Mm.
probably seen that this dude can snap, and the last thing I want to do is sit here and try to stop it. So let me just keep the smiley face and keep it pushing. Because again, it ain't her fault. It's his fault. It's his
And
fault.
we
It's
know
his
too,
decision.
it's something going on deep because his own mother said, "I don't recognize that person."
Right. Right. I mean, there's clearly something deep. I mean, for what he did, there's clearly something deep, and hopefully, they're taking the steps to get the help that they need, and the world is looking, of course, and again, we all make mistakes, man. We all have done things that we're not proud of. We all have said and maybe hurt people, and I'm not talking about physically,
Right.
however it may be. I'm just speaking in general. Just is growing as a people, and I feel like that. But the only way to grow is just like for our women in particular, which I've seen a lot. And I'm not saying other cultures or other women are not saying this, but for our women to be defending that, and in order for our women to grow, I'm asking you, sisters, to please understand where you're being disrespected.
Mm-hmm.
Please take a look, understand where you're being disrespected. Once you can mentally check that and realize that where you're being disrespected, then you can start to realize what real respect is. Because what you said when you went back, if a woman gets with a man who's, she don't understand the value in a man, and oh man, I'm close to this, man. I can go all day, but like when my wife, we was talking about the Russell Wilson thing, right?
Right.
And we were talking about Sierra, and how they was down Russell Wilson. You got to think, man, for Sierra to have dealt with Future, a man who went and had all these babies, did all this stuff, her mindset at that time probably thought that behavior was okay. She
Mm.
probably thought this is the norm. This is how rich men do. This is how just players do. This is cool.
Right.
Then she got with a guy and realized that, hey, this is what I say. This is what I mean. This is what I'm on. If you want it, cool, let's go. So it showed her, I'm not getting away from this because not all men are like that.
Right.
So she was able to grow as a woman and able to understand what was her piece and what was the situation she wanted to raise her children in. And again, it's not saying they don't have their issues or their problems, whatever, but we have started to demonize men who take care of their families, who take care of business, who when they grind their purpose, and we promote and perpetuate the shit that's destroying us as culture. What Will Smith did is another piece of that destroying our culture. That he hit another black man. He hit another black man. Because if he went up there and hit a woman, let's say a white woman, that shit would have went left. I'm telling you, they wouldn't have
Yeah. Hell
asked.
yeah. He would have
They
been
wouldn't have
escorted
arrested
out.
him, escorted out. So you got to see like just the value we even put on the black man as a victim. We don't even look at him as a victim. We look
That's
at
different.
the aggressor as the victim, and that's what I'm saying. Like this is a constant dialogue we could have
Yeah.
that has to be had because it's just our mindsets is that we see a true victim and we don't see him as a victim. We
Mm.
talk about the aggressor. The aggressor was consoled and talked to and hugged. I didn't see any of that energy towards a man who just got hit.
Facts. I ain't like
So
that either, man. And I
didn't
I
like
love
that.
Denzel, and Denzel said he did go backstage and talk to
Oh,
Chris
okay.
Rock.
Oh, okay.
But just the fact of, you got these guys coming up trying to tell him, and it's all because they see the circus too with their
Yeah, they
the
definitely do. They
relationships.
see the circus. They see the just the volatility and I mean, to me, when you see somebody do what he did, bro, like it's you kind of nervous to be around him because it's like you ain't rap too tight.
Right.
You doing some stuff that's just, like, oh my God, thanks, babe, for turning on the light. Like I needed that. Thank you. I was trying to do the most. Like, thank you. But yeah, man. I mean, like, I just feel like in order for us to grow, these conversations has to be had. And with my videos, I always talk about I keep it as a open discussion and dialogue, meaning like maybe months or years down the road we come back and revisit it
Mhm.
because it's constantly something that has to be fixed and talk about because this ain't an overnight. Whatever Will and Jada going through, it's not overnight. And it's
Facts.
not gonna be fixed overnight. If you decide to stay with her, again, I wouldn't. But if you decide to, that's on you. But you have to contain your emotions, guy. You have to because like my wife, she had a friend who lost her life because she dealt with a man who couldn't keep his emotions in check. You get
Mm.
what I mean? He couldn't keep his
Yeah.
emotions in check,
That's
and he killed her.
mm.
Over something that I'm sure he literally thought was nothing when he's thinking about it now. That he's in
Right.
prison. So this is like it seems such surface level, but it's
Yeah,
so much deeper than that.
for
Because
sure.
when we look at people who do the shit like go kill somebody, they do shit like what Will did. It's like
Yep.
it's the one thing that just get them to like snap. So that's where you have to dial it back. I don't care who you with. I don't care if it's friends, family, whoever. If you're around somebody who's really messing up your peace that much to where you want to inflict violence on them or someone else, you have to step away and evaluate yourself, because at the end of the day, you are responsible for your decisions.
Right.
And if you can't separate that, if you can't reconcile that, you have to deal with it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, if you can't reconcile that in your mind, you're gonna run into the issue, and it's only gonna get worse. It's only gonna get worse.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, you remember back in the day where they was talking about, oh, Chris and Rihanna, he was hitting her or whatever. It's like, hey,
Yeah.
you know what? It was
And there was a
bad,
whole big. He had to do a whole, like, his story came out about that too, of what she did to him.
right? And again, that's somebody who, because it's two sides to every story. Like,
Yeah,
and,
for
I,
sure.
and again, it doesn't justify you ever putting your hands on anybody either way.
It's three
But
sides
if
actually.
yeah, three sides, right? Yeah. But my aunt used to always tell me, she said, if you were a woman to make you feel like you want to put your hands on her, you don't need to be with her.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
vice versa, if a woman feel like she need to put her hands on you, y'all don't need to be together.
Right.
Like if you with your wife, let's say you're dealing with the waiter, and the waiter, I don't know, give her order wrong, and she like get up and snap at this person, put her hands on him or her. It's like,
Yeah.
you're not the type of person I need to be with.
Nah,
And again,
we're not doing
and
that.
we're just talking. We're subjectively talking. Our wives are nothing like that.
Right,
We're just,
for sure.
we're for our audience. So I just wanted to make that clear.
Yeah, for sure. Listen, man, I feel like we unpacked a lot today, man.
Sure we
That
did.
we're gonna have to probably come back and revisit this maybe here sometime soon. Real quick, man, tell everybody, how they can, check out your podcast and everything you got coming up.
So it's a True Leon Army Podcast. You can check me out on YouTube, all streaming platforms for the podcast version. I try to post at least once to twice a week. Definitely, go over check out my YouTube channel. I am on Instagram, _TrueLeon_Army_podcast. Also on Twitter. I haven't checked it much. I have 0 followers, but I'm building it up. So,
Yeah.
I was happy to be on here with Lito and, talk about this. And I hope that whoever's listened to this today, that you were able to gather something from it, be it as you will, or Jada, whoever, or maybe this to go towards the Wills who are in their homes doing that to their women or to other people. This is the message for you. Let Will's actions be learn from his mistakes. He got the money to repair. Most of us don't.
Facts.
So, again, man, thank you for having me on, man. And again, everybody want to come follow me, check it out. My discussions kind of flow just like this, like I had with Lito. It's about learning. Again, we don't try to answer every question. We just try to give our take, and hopefully it's something that the audience can take away and get better.
Yes, sir. And that's where we're gonna end the show at. You know what I mean? Man, thank you for coming on. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, we're gonna do a lot more podcasts. Y'all gonna see a lot more of us. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be on his, vice versa. So, you know what I mean? This is Happy Hour with Lito, and we out.